All right, guys, we'd like to welcome you, those of you who are joining with us. Wherever you are joining from, thank you to those who've signed in. The minute we are live on Facebook and unfortunately not quite on YouTube yet, maybe it will come up there. If you're joining us on Facebook, we welcome you. Thank you for joining. First of all, I'd like to introduce the team. We've got the majority of the team here who are on the call, who've worked on Lineage over the last few years. And so give everyone a chance to introduce themselves, where they're from, and say a little bit about themselves. So we'll just start with Suki. Furthest away, earliest one up. You're on mute still. There you go.
Hi, good morning, everyone from Melbourne. My name's Suki, and I work on the website. I am a stay-at-home mom of 2 kids. I also write in my spare time. And I'm from Melbourne, Australia. I think that's about all there is to know about me.
All right, guys, someone else next.
Okay, I'll go. Hi, I'm Charlene, Clive Coute's wife. I came on board because where he goes, I follow. So it's been quite a journey, but I'm a stay-at-home mum also. We have 2 children, very energetic. Right now we live in California, which is very nice and sunny. And it's been a great experience being part of the team. Oh, I edit Clive's mistakes.
All right, Jasper.
Hello, my name is Jasper, and I work as a creative director, and I do a lot of videoing for Lineage, mostly anything that moves. And when Adam is talking, that's Clive. When things are moving, that's me, or vice versa sometimes. So yeah, I worked as a pastor, but now I currently just doing a lot of traveling, but now I'm a stay-at-home guy because of quarantine. So that's all. I love going to Lineage. That's why we've been working for the past few years now. So thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jasper. Ashley.
Hey guys, my name's Ashley. I'm a photographer and illustrator and designer, and I've known Clive for a long time. Actually, when he said he was starting up the project from the first season, I just wanted to get involved, so I came and helped out with some photography and a little bit of graphics, and yeah, it's been a blessing to be involved ever since.
Cool.
I'm not sure I understand.
Laurie, Clive, Aiko, Eden, whoever. Let's go. Anton.
Okay, I'll go. So hi everyone, my name is Nori. I'm based in Manchester, where I live with my wife and 2 kids. And yeah, I do marketing for a living, and I've been helping market Lineage online.
Cool, thank you. Anton?
Hi, I'm Anton. I live in Manchester. I look after the social media for Lineage, and also the sound when we're out on trips. So yeah, you'll see me posting online, and obviously the audio. It's not just me. We've had some help from Michael. She'll tell you more about that. But yeah, that's the kind of roles that I play in the team.
Cool.
My name is Aiko, and I am a stay-at-home mom of 1 at the moment. And over the years, I've done various things, as Anton just mentioned, some sound and coordinating translations, which is always a work in progress, and editing Adam's mistakes sometimes. He's been good, but just general filling in here and there.
Cool. Eden?
You're muted. Hello, I am Eden. I am from Leeds, England. I am currently a student I just graduated and finished one part of my aerospace engineering course, and now I'm doing the second part. For Lineage, I am the behind the scenes producer. I capture everyone's mistakes and I just display them out there. But yeah, no, we introduced this behind the scenes aspect to Lineage to show, I guess, the production, the planning, and all of that in a way that you guys can see how Lineage was created. So yeah, that's behind the scenes. Not me there.
My name is Clive. I was kind of involved from the conception of Lineage. It's been a passion of mine to get this up and running for a number of years before we started. I'm a videographer, cinematographer, editor before I started the Lineage project. And since then, I've moved from England to America with my family, and I'm the media director also at Weimar Institute in California.
All right, Clive, we just got a question come in and it dovetails right into how we were going to go next, and that was how did Lineage start? Maybe just share a few short things there, Clive, because people often think Lineage was my idea, and I'm always like, hey, it wasn't my idea. Blame Clive. So Clive, tell us.
Beloved, please. I had to get that in. So how did it start? I mean, I was reading The Great Controversy, and as I was reading through it, I started to look for stuff online that kind of corresponded with the stuff I was reading. And to be honest, the stuff that I was finding, like the videos or the images or the articles, mainly videos is what I was looking for. The quality was just really bad. It was either really long or it was a really poor quality. So I was thinking, if this is not captivating or capturing me, how is it going to capture everyone else? So I kind of left it for a few years. Initially, the guy who I wanted to do this project with was really busy. It wasn't actually Adam at first. And then I kind of, forgot about it. And then it was the year before the 500.
Backup, Clive.
Yeah, Adam was the backup, but kind of looking back at things, he is a much
never
better
knew that.
presenter. I mean, there was some things Adam had to iron out, kind of like the head tilt. But once he got past some of those problems, he was a great guy. But no, anyway, so on the year of the 500, the year before the 500th anniversary of Martin Luther posting the 95 Thesis in Wittenberg, I remember I was discussing this with Adam, and we were actually outside the British Museum when it was like, this is coming. We really need to do this. I think it was like maybe July or August, because it was right after camp meeting in June. And we were like, we really need to do this. Hey, I was like, how do you feel about doing some videos about the Reformation in London? Because, we're so close to us. And Adam thought it was a great idea. I knew that he was passionate about history. And initially we scheduled our first shoot. And I remember we canceled it. I think I canceled it because I thought we weren't quite ready. Adam thought we weren't quite ready, didn't have the right equipment. And then we said we needed some more planning. And I guess as you got into the planning stage, Adam was like, well, if we're going to do London, we might as well do, the other places in England. And then, if we're going to do the other places in England, we might as well do Wales and Scotland because it's so close to us. And then before you knew it, it was like, well, we might as well do the rest of Europe. And this sort of was just developed into this bigger project than it actually initially wanted it to be. Maybe you can follow on from there, Adam.
Yeah, and then I guess the next 4 or 5 months we started planning it. I drew up a list of episodes that I thought would be good. I emailed it to a couple of people that I respected in their knowledge of history. They sent back some adjustments, add more of these, take more of these out, etc. And then that brought us up to the end of November. We went on our first filming trip, and then you brought Ashley along, and your dad came along on that. We went up to Scotland and filmed up there, and then right after that one was when we went to France, and that's where we met this Filipino guy called Jasper that none of us had ever met before. It's kind of amazing, really, because Clive had never met him, I'd never met him, and Jasper's never met us. But you got a phone call or an email or a message from Clive or something. Tell us, Jasper, how,
So
you had a job as a pastor and you resigned?
yeah, so I was a pastor in Indonesia during that time. Well, we were friends, you know, Clive and I were friends. You know, I was asking for donation. I'm joking. I was not. I was talking to Clive and and we were friends. Yeah, we was bugging Clive about video stuff. So I was starting videos during that time. And then he called me up and he said, hey, you want to join us, do this trip? And then I left pastoral work, went to the Philippines, got my visa, which was very difficult, of course, to get. Then flew to England, meeting people I do not know. I've never met Clive before. I've never met Adam. So it was, you know, I remember meeting you guys first time was like, what time was it? Like I don't know. I forgot what time. 2 a.m. Yeah, we were driving. Where you were driving during that time? We were driving somewhere in.
We drove to Paris.
To where?
We picked you up in Paris and then we drove down to the Waldensian Valleys.
Oh wow, that was far, huh? Okay, wow. Okay, so we went there first time, and yeah, that was the start. It was actually a leap of faith. Stayed in Europe for about 2 months, 3 months, and did Lineage.
Cool. And then the next one I think that joined the team was Anton.
Mm-hmm.
Just share it real quick, Anton.
Yeah, sure. So
I think it was the next trip. We had to go to Scotland because we had already been to Iona, but Clive didn't quite adjust his settings right. Isn't that right, Clive?
Yeah, I think initially early on we had some donation.
New equipment and stuff.
I had a donation from some church members in Manchester who I told the project to, and they gave us some money to buy all kinds of new equipment to get this done, and it kind of kickstarted us. But I guess we didn't have enough time to go through all the equipment from when we filmed. So some of the locations we ended up actually doing twice, simply because, you know, we weren't used to the cameras. I'd actually moved from Canon to Sony at the time, and I remember I was on the phone to Jasper, like, hey Jasper, what do I do? What do I do? Because I just didn't know how to use the camera properly. So it took some kind of teething problems that we had to get through. And then so on a second trip to Iona, I remember we were driving all through the night. It was myself, Adam, and Charlene, and Antoine. And we were planning this out, and we were like, right, we're going to drive through the night, going to get to Iona in the morning because it's so far away, film throughout the day, and then drive back. So basically be on that island for one day. And, you know, when myself and Adam were planning it, we're like, we need another driver because it's going to be too much to drive through the night. And I was like, actually, I know Iona was windy last time. Let me see if Anton can help, and maybe he can do the boom mic as well. And he can drive too. So then that's kind of how Anton got involved. So maybe you can continue from there, Anton.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, it was a lot of driving. I remember that. A lot of driving. But yeah, it was really good to be asked to be part of the team and to assist with audio. So yeah, so Iona was the first trip, and when we got to Iona, it was a very intense day. A lot of filming to do, a lot of paragraphs, and I realized very quickly that it was, you know, the term of like run and gun when you're like kind of filming, it was literally that. It was like, okay, we need to get here, film on this location, then get to the next place. And I remember, maybe Adam and Clive can remind me about this. We nearly missed, we were on an island and we nearly missed the boat to get back. So we would have been stuck on the island.
The last boat.
The last boat, yeah, the very last boat of the night. We would have missed that, and then we would have been stuck on the island. So that was interesting. But we ran as fast as we could with our equipment, and we managed to get back in time, just in time.
Yeah,
no, that's hilarious. Yeah.
We were on top of the hill on Iona, and we could see the ferry coming over, and Clive's like, no, we still had to finish like the paragraph or something. So I'm filming the paragraph, watching the boat come over, watching it come over, like, yeah, we still got time. And then finish the paragraph, run down the hill. It was about, I don't know, half a mile to the ferry port there. And yeah. Wasn't.
It's funny because that happened to us the first time we went to Iona as well. So we didn't learn anything. Both times we were just sprinting for the ferry.
I guess the lesson here is don't shoot in the winter.
Short days.
One, it gets dark quickly, and secondly, the boats come early.
I remember thinking I might have to lie across like the road and the ferry and be like, you're not leaving till my husband gets here. Don't do it crazy.
Yeah, that was a great trip.
Yeah,
we said, I think you were ahead to like hold the boat for us. And then Thanks, Anton. And then you obviously do our social media now. We'll talk maybe a bit about that later on.
Mhm.
And then Suki, after our first episode released, you kind of came into the picture as well.
Yeah, a friend of mine told me about Lineage, and I remember watching it. And at that time, I was between kind of ministry commitments. I was praying about where God wanted me to serve next. And I saw Lineage, and I really liked the content, and I really liked the I'm a history buff. I love history, and I love the way Lineage was packaged. And so I emailed Adam, not emailed, actually, I Facebook messaged him. I'd met Adam before in Australia during AYC. And so I messaged him and I was like, hey, I'm just interested to know if you guys have any opportunities with your ministry where I can serve. And so Adam messaged me back and he's like, well, we are looking for someone to write for our website. Would you like to send us something? So I wrote him something on the first episode, and then he was like, yeah, would you like to help us write for the website? And then it kind of developed from there. It just started off as a few short articles. And then when we thought about how we want to lay out the website, we decided we wanted the website to be this educational tool where people could go and find more information about whatever topic that we presented with the episodes. And so it kind of evolved from short articles to long articles to just all kinds of educational resources. And then after that, when we thought about releasing the coloring book and study guides, and it kind of evolved into writing for different projects.
I think what was amazing about this was when we would go to these different places early on, like we went to Iona, we went to Holy Islands, and the information that you kind of read in the Great Controversy or Truth Triumph or some of the other books, you go to these places and it's almost like history is trying to be changed, and it's very different. And I remember Charlene, I think we were on the way back from Scotland, Charlene messaged me and she was like, hey, you guys should really make a website about this. I think actually you were there as well. You should make a website about this and kind of have this like, almost like this encyclopedia for kids, for people who want to know the truth, but also have like, book references from the Spirit of Prophecy, from other books that we read as well. Because often enough, like, Wikipedia and some of these other websites say something different. And really, Suki was a godsend because none of us could kind of manage that at the time and be able to do the research and get the articles up, because we were all focused on making the videos. And when Suki came along, literally it was an answer to prayer. And it's been such a blessing just kind of seeing how this small just video idea kind of developed into other things as well.
That's true. And even like you said, the website was kind of, I think, we had it was like, oh, maybe let's do a website. Even having our own social media platform was an afterthought. It was like, oh, maybe we should have our own. Because initially it was just going to go on NEC Youth. And then I thought, well, what about when I'm not youth directed and I want to have access to the platforms? So we made our own platforms, and things kind of happened organically as we went along. In Eden, your first trip was Scotland, I think, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
And Scotland
round two. You know what happened was Eden had come on a ski trip with us.
No, wasn't that 3? I think that was 3.
No, we only went to Scotland twice.
No.
Iona
first
twice.
Trip, then Iona. And then
Yeah.
Edinburgh.
Round 3. Yeah, you're right.
Mhm.
Round 3.
3 trips.
Eden had come on a ski trip and filmed a behind-the-scenes video of our ski trip, and then I was talking to Clive, and Clive was like, "Hey, what about that kid who filmed your video? Why didn't you invite him along?" And then,
It's crazy how that worked out, because like a few months before I saw Lineage, my sister Charlotte, she showed me, I think it was episodes like 6, the Wardenty Valleys of season 1. And I was just like, I was quite amazed about like how it was shot. So like the cinematics of it all. And then obviously I recognized Adam, which is crazy because like you see this kind of production, but then to know it's like Adam, that like, or like someone that you know who is hosting it. But yeah, that's as far as it went. A few months later, ski trip. Clive reached out to me, says, "Come along to this. To this shoot some behind the scenes and it kind of went from there.
Cool. Nori, when did you come on board? It was during that first year, wasn't it? Once they got the website up?
Yeah, no, it was during the first year. Obviously, Clive had mentioned about what was being planned, and then seeing the trailer, and then sort of the team starting to come together, Suki, etc. That's sort of when I started to get involved with helping optimize the YouTube videos, setting out a format for that, along with obviously the website as well. So yeah, from season one, not being on any trips. So I've not been to Scotland, I've not been anywhere, but just sitting behind the scenes.
Actually, that's not true. You helped us.
Oh yeah, you're right, actually in France. Yeah, we did do France. Yeah, you're right, actually. I forgot about that.
True. All right, guys. So those of you who are watching, maybe if you want to comment, we've already asked people if they comment where they're watching today from, but if you wanted to maybe write a comment as to where you watch Lineage, whether it's in your church or you're just watching on home, or whether it's in your school, just write some comments in the box there, just so we can see where you actually view them and where you watch them, and also on what platform you watch them as well. Wanted to kind of, we've got season 3 coming up. We've got a trailer for that. We're going to play the trailer now, guys. Should we play the trailer now?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, play the trailer. You got the trailer? Let's play the trailer now. In case any of you guys haven't seen season 3 trailer, we just released it last night on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll give you a view of it right now. Cool, pretty good. So season 3, guys, we just maybe talk a little bit about that, and what's coming up, what's on the horizon. So season 3, we've called the last one season 1 and season 2, but season 3, we're actually breaking it down into different parts, different titles for that, and they're going to come out almost as mini-series. Ashley, do you want to share a little bit about that? Just the names.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So there's I guess different elements to the story. We are starting to look at Bible history more, where we've been looking at the Reformation and then kind of following that. And so we've broken it down basically into 4 parts. And I'm trying to find if I've got the graphic with me here. Actually, Adam, do you want to explain the concept behind it? And I'll actually just sort of share the names.
Rather than having a long series of 60 episodes non-stop, it would cover different time periods of Bible history. So the first one is going to be from creation to Kings. Kind of follows, if you're familiar with the book Patriarchs and Prophets, the same time period. And that one will have, I think it's 14 episodes in there. It was originally 13, but Clive insisted on the 14th one. The Cities of Refuge, so look out for that one too. And then the next one is going to be
Kings to Captivity, I think is the next one.
Kings to Captivity. That will cover the second half of the Old Testament, and then the New Testament we've split into 2 again.
Yeah, you have the first part of the New Testament is from Manger to Messiah. And then the last part is from Pentecost to Patmos. So yeah, it's basically covering the whole period of Bible history, but split into those 4 chapters, if you like.
Cool. So we just filmed in December. Don't think it was November. December in
That was like
3
November.
countries. November and December. We covered Egypt and Jordan, then Israel, and then just recently myself, Clive, and Ricky who's not, went to Malta and Greece. So maybe so we have that coming up. You've seen the trailer that's coming out, and then coming up is going to be the season 3, the first one, which is going to be called From Creation to Kings. Just maybe want to ask the filming, the rest of the guys, those who traveled on those trips, any experiences or highlights of those trips that you guys want to share, or about the episodes that are coming up that you're looking forward to.
Clive?
Okay,
Clive?
I'm excited because from a visual perspective, it's just going to be incredible. Some of the places that we saw, it's crazy, like reading stuff to my kids, telling them the Bible stories, and actually going there and being on the actual ground where these things happened. It was a really amazing privilege to be able to witness those things and to be able to capture them. I know that the team technically have very high standards when it comes to visual stuff, and just seeing some of the footage and how it's been organized and what's going to come out in each episode, I just cannot wait, just because I think it's going to be so juicy. It's going to be, I think, probably some of the most visually excellent stuff that we've produced so far. The scripts, the dialogues, like, it's interesting being on a shoot sometimes, and obviously Adam has to get his lines right. It has to be the right tempo. Clive has to be happy, and that can take a while. And even hearing the same thing over and over again, the same line, it really opens up to you just the important parts of all of these little stories that we have. And I think that's something that I've really appreciated about Lineage, especially using it as an educational tool for the kids. When you have to hone in on things and you've got 4 to 5 minutes to really summarize something that can take, chapters and chapters in multiple books to express, but to be able to get it down to certain lines, it really helps you to focus on just how good God is and the story and how he has worked throughout history for us. And being on set, like, well, I suppose it's a set, we create our own set, I suppose, when we're there, but just being there and speaking about these things, and then you've got the whole scenery around. I cannot wait to see it put together. It's going to be really exciting.
Just before we continue with more experiences, maybe we can take a minute. A couple questions have come in. Laura asked, how do you choose your material, especially for the 3rd series? And how do you ensure that all stories and statements are authentic? And along with that, Gotcha asks, who develops the script?
Yeah, good question. What was the first one?
How do you choose material and ensure that everything's authentic?
It's kind of a 2-stage process. I'll do reading on the history and develop, I guess, the idea of where what episodes to do. I'll run it by other people. It's not just something I do on my own. And then writing the script is as Charlene just mentioned, it's kind of a challenge, especially on this. I think this episode, this season, the most. Like, if I write an episode on King David, and you go to the Bible, there's like whole books about him and whole chapters and chapters and chapters. Oh, well, I've got to summarize like 30 chapters of the Bible in 6 paragraphs. It's kind of challenging sometimes, or which parts to pick out. So in that sense, it's I guess just trying to figure out the highlights. So I'll write the script. Suki is a historian fact checker who has saved us on many occasions. And we'll check them either before it's filmed. Sometimes it's after it's filmed, to make sure that even when Clive's editing it, we can somehow change the dates that I may have gotten wrong and adjust it to make it correct. So in that sense, it's a 2-part process, from when it's first written to when it's edited to when it's video edited. and then it's checked again before it goes out, because we do recognize that people watch these in history classes or other things like that, or in church, and we want to make sure it's fully accurate. Did that answer all the questions? Or was there one I missed?
And obviously you're the one that develops, the main one that develops the script.
Yeah, to start with, yeah.
I just want to say that one of the hardest part that I really appreciate with Adam is that he memorizes the whole script. So for you guys watching, I just want to let you know how difficult that is, and how time consuming. And you know, as I film Adam doing that, sometimes what was the record, Adam? What was the record of how many of the most paragraphs we ever did?
What? Straight? Like
yeah, straight in one day.
Oh, 28.
28. Wow. So yeah, 28 paragraphs. And sometimes, you know, I remember the first time I went, we drove from Germany. Which was the airport that you picked me up in Germany? Frankfurt to Prague. That was a long time. And Adam was listening to his voice. He was memorizing. And I was like, man, I can't do that. This was probably the hardest ones. Yeah. So Adam could nail every time, except if we eat Anton's apple crumble. So he sometimes messed up whenever he eats that. I just want to say it. So ladies and gentlemen, sugar is not good when you film Lineage. We try to avoid sugar.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed. I've worked with a lot of hosts and a lot of people that I've been filming over the years, and probably Adam is one of the best at script memorization that I know. There's people that we've had to do like 87 takes. I mean, I think Anton, Ashley, and Jasper remember that person. But pretty much Adam can normally do a one-take wonder. We call it a one-hit wonder. But you know, we're never doing multiple takes, because a lot of these places that we go to, we're in and out. Like, we have to go there. We're there for maybe 1 or 2 hours before we have to move to next location. You know, cutting costs. You know, we don't typically stay there, so that's why sometimes we don't get the things like golden hour and some of the, you know, really nice looking stuff, because literally we don't have the time to stay there for long periods. So having someone like Adam to just memorize the scripts just really helps, and is really
so if you watch videos and stuff like that, there's a tip. You know, when a person, when he does a teleprompter, because his eyes goes like this.
Mm-hmm.
But Adam, his eyes is straight, because we don't do prompters. We never carry prompters. So
even at the beginning, his neck was going the other way.
Even like this.
If the head's not straight, the eyes are straight. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm having a mild stroke, but I'm straight. Like,
I want to take this opportunity to get the head seal thing off my chest, please, guys.
Sorry, moving on. So
how many episodes did you watch me film and didn't pick it up?
Well, it's a
only
low budget, you see.
when we edited their first episode, I'm like, Clive, what's with Adam's head? And he's like, oh, I didn't notice that. I'm like, and then we went through and through and through. And like, did you not see this?
I remember I sent it to someone who's very new, season 3 already. So season 2 already. And so let's start with the beginning and all that. So he was like very old guy. He's been in the film industry. And he was like, oh, these are really good production. But what's wrong with your host's neck? So funny.
No,
We fixed it though. We fixed it.
You know what you can say to them? Beloved, please.
Right. Cool. I think we answered the questions that came in. Anyone else want to share a highlight from filming on season 3, or it could be a previous season of a trip that we made that really stands out to you?
Can I say something? In season 3, it's so good. The amount of falafels eaten on that shoots is, I could not tell you how much falafels we ate. So I miss falafels. Right now I'm dreaming of falafels from Jerusalem because of this quarantine.
Sorry?
We just got a question that came in and said, where is it? Someone asked where we get the epic music from, but another question came in asking about permission to film and so on. And
so I can talk a little bit about that. So we typically don't ask for permission to film. I went to film school, and one of the things that they taught us, especially when you're doing documentary making, is kind of you go guerrilla until you ask to stop. So typically, a lot of the places that we have managed to film in, we may not have been able to if we hadn't gone in. But where they have asked us to stop, we have been respectful and left. But you know, you typically don't ask questions. You just kind of go ahead and do it.
Like, can you tell the story where we almost get busted in Geneva?
Oh, so but even when it comes down to the drone flying, I mean, some of the places we filmed the drone, used the drone in early on in season 1. I mean, it's completely illegal now in those places in the cities. But back then, the rules were still very relaxed, and you know there wasn't really major problems flying the drone. So Jasper, you know, flying in Geneva, we always check, you know, how close we are to the nearest airport, because I know there's specific rules about airport flying, and you know when it comes to safety, we don't want to be flying into planes or anything like that. So we've kind of been very respectful with that. So we were flying in Geneva by the Reformation Wall, and we were well outside the zone for airplanes. And Jasper was flying. Now Jasper's obviously a Filipino in Europe. He's here on a tourist visa, kind of just helping us out. And he's got this drone in his hand. And then my dad, who's with us as well, kind of sees these police officers coming towards us. And Jasper literally takes the controller and almost like a rugby pass or American football pass, or actually no, like a rugby pass, throws it into my hands and kind of gently walks away. So the police like just kind of turn up, and I've got this controller in my hand. And my dad, who happens to speak French because we're natively from Mauritius, and he's speaking to them. He's being really friendly, and you know they were really friendly guys, and they were really helpful, and you know they weren't annoyed or anything. They just asked us to bring it down. But there's a famous shot of the Reformation Wall, and you know the shot kind of comes down and reveals, you know, the reformers, the 4 of them there. I actually did that shot with the police right next to me as I was bringing it down, and I always think of that moment of that shot. But yeah, it was interesting. And even when we're flying in Israel with the drone, we actually got a license for Israel. We had a friend of ours who did with drone licenses, so I was able to, myself and Jasper were able to fly with a license. And typically we're a lot more careful now because we know the rules have been changed and a lot more serious now. And you know, we weren't able to fly in Egypt, for example, because it's completely illegal there and banned, and we could end up in prison. So in our trailer, there's a clip there of Egypt, and you know, we managed to find some good stock footage of that. But typically, we're trying to be as respectful as we can, especially when it comes to the drone flying. Anyway.
Thanks. Great. Any other experiences from season 3 you guys want to share? Or...
Yeah, I think we can't move out of this conversation without talking about how covert Ashley is. But I mean,
I thought I made it. You know, I thought that was we were gonna get past.
As you guys know, and probably seen some of the behind the scenes. You know, we like a little banter in our group. We like to. These days can be really stressful. There's times where, you know, I've lost it or I've been stressed out, and we try and keep the energy going with a little bit of banter, and you know, just trying to keep the good vibes, because it is, anyone who comes on a trip with us, they are tough days. You're up early to go film, and you get back late, and you know, then we have to dump the footage and charge the batteries.
1 meal a day.
Yeah, literally 1 meal a day. We'll 2 meals, but we'll shoot early. We'll have like a running breakfast, where we're out the door kind of eating, and then we film throughout the day. And then when the sun sets, when it's no more time to film, then we're able to go and eat. So this particular instance, we were kind of at the Jordan River at first, and we weren't supposed to have professional gear at the Jordan River. So the guy asks, you know, Ashley has these 2 big cameras and they've got 2 big lenses, and he's kind of walking around like he's strapped. And this the security guard was basically like, you know, he could get in trouble with the army, who you know, if anyone who's been to the Jordan River where Jesus got baptized or supposedly got baptized, on one side is Israel, the other side is Jordan, and they have the army literally on both sides, and the distance between both sides is maybe like 15 meters. You know, it's not very big at all. So, you know, as we were approaching the border where the Jordan River was, the guy was like, you know, Ashley needs to put the camera away. So, you know, we went and told Ashley, and then as the kind of the day went on, you know, obviously Ashley always has his cameras. So that evening, Ashley, we were at a restaurant, and Ashley was like, you know, I feel like I'm the most covert one out of everybody. I think something along those lines. And you know, we were all kind of laughing, like, so it was
a hard day of covert filming.
Yeah. So yeah, he was like, it's a hard day of covert filming, and we were like, actually, you're not covert at all. And he was like, what? Yes, I am. And so we're obviously going back and forth, and you know, we're all laughing, and we're kind of, you know, ripping into Ashley because we know that he doesn't seem as covert as he thinks he is, probably. And then literally like 5 minutes later, the waiter in the restaurant comes over, and he was like, oh, he saw Ashley's 2 cameras, you know, you professional? And we kind of just lost it. Like, you know, we have a chat, we have a WhatsApp group, and the memes were flying in about Ashley's covertness. But in all seriousness, you know, we do like the banter. It helps us go in. And, you know, these moments like really help us to kind of get through.
Yeah, just on that, Clive, I think actually we had a couple of questions about equipment and stuff. I guess we might as well kind of mention it now.
Sure.
Well, do you want to mention the filming equipment first? I can talk.
Sure, I'll go with the filming. I typically was a Canon guy before Lineage. All of my stuff was Canon. But because we were traveling so much, and because of the nature of the places where we were going to, that we knew that we weren't able to maybe have big cameras, big gimbals, big tripods, those kind of things. We literally, and because we were flying a lot sometimes as well, the goal was to shrink all of our gear down into one camera bag. So that has to be drone, gimbal, camera equipment, lenses. So typically we have one bag. I would have a bag, Jasper had a bag, and we both have our own stuff in there. But literally the goal was to shrink everything down. So because of that, I knew Jasper had been using Sony for a while. I made the decision to move from Canon to Sony because Canon are mirrorless cameras, and they're just so much smaller, fit on smaller gimbals. You're kind of shrinking, the lenses are lighter, you're shrinking everything down. And back then, Canon weren't shooting in 4K, but Sony had gone down to the 4K route. So typically for season 1 and 2, everything was shot on an A7S Mark II. And then for season 3, we shot on an A7 III. And that's kind of been our goal. Drones, we've gone through various numbers of drones. We had a Phantom 3 Advanced or Professional, I think it was. We had a Phantom 4 Pro. Then we had the Phantom 4 Obsidian. And then recently, obviously with the size of the Mavic Pro 2, we've shrunk down to the Mavic Pro 2 just simply because of portability reasons. But that's typically our gear. We use a number of lenses. I probably don't need to go into details of lenses, but that's pretty much our gear. We also have an Eagle Crane Slider 1 Pro, which is our slider. The gimbal that we were using was a Kane TV for season 1 and 2. I think Kane TV, what was the brand name again, Jasper?
Optimus.
Kane TV Optimus. And then for season 3, because we wanted to shrink down even more, we knew places like Egypt was very difficult to film in. So we shrunk down to Zion, what was it called again?
Weebill S.
Weebill S. Zion Weebill S. And that is really small, really portable. It folds down, fits in the bag, and literally everything just fit perfect in the bag. Maybe Anton can touch on audio while we're on filming.
Yeah, sure. So with the aim of being compact as possible, we use Zoom recorders. So season one we used a H4n, and then season 2 we moved to we're kind of like halfway through a H6, a Zoom H6. They're both very portable, very small. You can just mount it onto like a belt, and you can kind of cover it up if you need to, a coat or anything. So you're as covert as you can be. The only bit that isn't covert is using a boom. So we can't use boom for all the takes, but where possible, we try to just kind of get better audio. If apart from that, we'll just use lapel mics. So yes, sometimes the audio will be better. Sometimes it just depends on where we are. But especially like Egypt was very difficult because filming in Egypt was quite a challenge. So essentially, all of the Egypt episodes were shot in lapel. So yeah. But it's been fine. We've not really had too much issues. I think once we kind of optimize our settings, we've been fine. So yeah, it's been good.
And just to say, the first few episodes of season 1 were with none of that. So the audio is quite a little bit different.
Yeah, I also wanted to mention something as well. There's a few times that we used iPhones in season 3, just for covert reasons. But I have a funny story that goes along with that as well. So I had already moved to America, and we were still editing season 2, and we had the season where we were talking about Adventism in England, and Adam's going to laugh about this. So we needed some B-roll of one of the houses. I think it was the publishing house. What area was it again, Adam? It was
Grimsby.
In Grimsby. So Adam's like, I'm like, hey Adam, like, oh, I obviously had already left England, so I couldn't do it. So I was like, hey Adam, can you go to this place and get some footage? So he used his phone, and he had one of those iPhone gimbals, and he never asked me any questions about how to do it. He just went and did it. And then, so he drove all the way down to Grimsby, and he came back, sent me the footage, probably feeling all happy that now he's part of the production team. You know, he's got his footage, and I had to rebuke him because the footage was terrible. So then we had to have a training session, and kind of teach him kind of the stance, the angles, you know, and basically show him that it's not as easy as he thinks it is. And then he had to drive back the next morning all the way up to Grimsby, which is what, 2 hours from you?
Oh, yeah.
About 2 hours. And then, you know, he got the shots right, and his shots made it into the episode. So there's a couple of times that we've used iPhone shots. We haven't edited a lot of season 3 yet. We're still working on it, so I couldn't tell you how much has been on the iPhone. But we did do quite a few shots on the iPhone as well, which was the iPhone 11 Pro. Over to you, Ashley.
Yeah, just in terms of like the camera stuff, I personally use like the guy said, pretty large kind of Nikon D4 cameras and lenses. I think with the photography, it's not sometimes as hard, because I think when you start videoing, especially with a boom pole, like Anton said, you get people coming over and, you know, getting in the way and stuff, whereas with the cameras you're a bit more free. But I use that, but we actually, same thing, some of the photos that we use in our graphics are shot on phones, and some of the team as well. I think what's great about the team is we're all like pretty versatile. So if Jasper's doing some videoing, I know like he can take some photos as well. Eden can do the behind the scenes, but also get the photos as well. And I think a few of us, you know, might know how to use the drones. I think Aiko can do some of the audio. So I think it gives us a little bit of freedom. If not all of us can go on every single trip, but we know that kind of all the roles can kind of be covered.
Eden, what you shoot
I think everything all the time.
So it depends when it comes to behind the scenes. I like to shoot on a DSLR type thing when we kind of out and about. But then when it comes to sort of more covert filming, we use whatever we have. So smartphones, GoPros. It really depends on the situation.
I'd say that's one of my favorite things about season 3 is that Eden is always filming.
Yeah.
Like whatever you're doing, you know, it's going to be captured for the behind the scenes thing. So you better, you have to be always aware that he's always there.
And there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Like I filmed Ashley sleeping, and if you guys want to see it, you subscribe to our Patreon. and we'll connect with
and Adam after he's had crumble. Start slurring his words.
Yeah.
Hey, while we're on that, why don't we, maybe Suki, you can talk about some of the resources and where we get some of our information from, some of the common books that we use. I know there's a wide plethora of them, but maybe a few of them for anyone that's listening.
Sure. So for writing the articles for the website, I generally use 2 main books, and then I'll use a few other books to complement that to kind of verify the facts. So I use James Wiley's History of Protestantism, and which was published like in the early 19th century. And then I also use Merle d'Aubigné's The History of the Reformation. So they're like massive books, a couple of volumes long. I have them digitally. And so whenever I'm researching a topic, I first check Wiley or d'Aubigné to give me kind of a frame of reference. And then I might use more modern sources. So I use, there's this, it's like an organization. It's available on Audible as well. It's called The Great Courses. And it's basically what they do is they record university lectures on different topics. And the courses are done by lecturers from different universities around the world, mainly in America. And so for season 1, the Reformation, I used the History of Protestantism, like I said, and the History of the Reformation. And then I used a lot of these university courses from Stanford University, Lafayette University, where they do courses on the Reformation. And so I use those. You get the audios. They're like 33 lectures, 1-hour lectures. And then you also get a course book. And so I use those to kind of cross-reference my research for season 1. Season 2, I used a lot of just readily available books. I used Tell It to the World. I used, oh, Adam, what's that book? The one about the places.
Pioneer's one.
Yes, Pioneer Places.
Yeah, Pioneers.
Professor, sorry,
Dr.
say
Burt.
again. Yes,
Dr.
yes,
Merlin
yes.
Burt.
That's right, Dr. Merlin Burt's book on Adventist Pioneer Places. I used that. I also used Ellen White's biography by Arthur L. White for referencing stuff. Season 3, I haven't started yet, but I'll be using most of the, I'll be using some university coursework books for the early, some of the early stuff like on Egypt, but I'll mostly be using Patriarchs and Prophets and Kings, Desire of Ages. When it comes to fact checking for the episodes, I use the same references, but sometimes I might use journal articles as well. When it comes to fact checking the episodes, or also sometimes we get questions from people on YouTube, sometimes asking us where we got references from, or sometimes challenging some of the information that we have. And then I use journal articles. I use JSTOR. It's like a journal article database. And then I look for journal articles from some of the modern journals, history journals, scholarly articles that I use for reference. So we try to keep it as scholarly and as academically thorough as possible. Yeah, does that answer the question?
We've had a question come in asking, how is it that we fundraise to afford to go to these places to get on location? Because obviously Lineage is really focused on being in these places, and how can you get involved to support?
Great question. We really appreciate everyone who supported us so far. Donations have come in from, I mean, it's been varied on every season who supported. Season 1, the conference helped out and people donated their time, obviously, because everyone volunteers their time. And also there was a partnership with one of the ministries in America as well, to a certain degree. But we do rely on donations to fundraise. We have a Patreon page where people can sign up to do monthly donations. That's something we've done in the last year. It's going fairly well, but obviously we appreciate everyone who does sign up. So if you're interested in being a monthly supporter of Lineage, the money that you donate goes towards filming future projects that we still have to do, and also for production costs and things like that. We have received some one-off donations from some generous individuals that we're always grateful for, as well as, you know, the small donations that trickle in as well. We really appreciate everyone who gives, whether it's, you know, a lot or a little. All of it makes a difference, and, you know, it goes a long way. Yeah, so people can, via our website, they can donate one-off or what's the word? Monthly. We've also been blessed to have ASI gave some sponsorship as well for season 3, which was a huge blessing. So we want to thank them for that. That was a massive impetus, and the Trans-European division gave some money as well for season 3, what we just filmed. So that was a huge help as well. So we have gotten some grants. So it's a mixture of some grants, it's a mixture of some monthly donations, there's a mixture of some one-off donations. And then, you know, from some of the CDs or DVDs or T-shirts that we sell, there's a little bit of profit that comes in that goes back into the filming production cost as well. So thank you guys for supporting. Yeah, I think that answers the question.
And the coloring book.
Oh, coloring books as well. Yeah, we've got the season 1 coloring book. That's something we've done. So we have a lot of those things available at the minute. And yeah, so if you buy those things, use them in your churches, it helps you and it helps us as well. Yeah.
There's been a couple of questions about music, where the music comes from. That kind of ties into one of the production costs. So
sure. I mean, just before I mention the music, if you did want to donate, you can go to lineagejourney.com/donate, or you can go to patreon.com/lineagejourney. And, you know, if you go to our website, it'll give you information about how you can donate monthly, or how you can just do a one-off donation. But the music, so I get this question a lot: where do you get the music from? If I told you, wouldn't be able to use it anymore, so sorry. I'm just joking. No, we get it from a website called audiojungle.com, and we kind of go through all their tracks and kind of pick them episode by episode. It's not a subscription service. We pay for the track, for the license for the track. Is a particular type of feel we've gone from the very beginning of Lineage. So, you know, that's kind of going to continue.
Cool. I
got another story.
Right. You got another story? Which one is it? Before I mean, screen it first.
So after we went to Castelluzzo in Italy, we drove over to France to stay somewhere the night before we shot in Béziers. And it was really late, and it was really tight. We were really tired, and we pull up to this place. I think it's an Adventist site. But what we didn't realize was that it was a campsite. That's not a problem here with us. You know, we've got, I think Anton's a master guide with Pathfinders. You know, it's not stuff that we haven't done before. But when you're a film crew, there's a problem with camping, because you got nowhere to charge your batteries, you know, or plug your laptops in or things like that. So we were in the middle of this field with just these tents, and we're kind of like, what are we gonna do? And I think we managed to find a power reel to the nearest building.
I found a long power reel in some back cupboard somewhere, and it must have been
like 200 meters at least to the nearest building. And we managed to wire it into the car that we were in, and I ended up sleeping in the car and plugging all the batteries in there so we could at least charge up our stuff, because there was other people on the campsite as well, and I don't think it was necessarily just Adventists there, so we didn't want to leave it in the building and then our stuff's gone, so we wanted to keep it with us. And that was an interesting trip as it was, because I think my suitcase didn't turn up, and we didn't have a tripod, so we've just been through some challenges as a team. But one thing I really respect about everybody in this team is that everyone here is hard workers and grinders, and it doesn't matter, you know, it's easy to speak for yourself, but when, you know, everyone else is willing to sleep on the floor or to drive through the night, or, you know, these are some of the sacrifices that everybody in this team has kind of made to make these videos possible for you guys. It's just being able to grind. You know, we don't stay in expensive hotels unless there's a massive discount. But typically, like, we're willing to grind and just sleep wherever we can on floors. But, you know, everyone in this team has been really, really hardworking when it comes to just grinding things out and getting things done. And no one really, you couldn't be part of this film crew if you didn't enjoy what you did, because it's not pretty, you know. Everybody here has to grind. Everyone has long hours, little food, little sleep. Everyone's like, oh, you guys get to travel so much. Yeah, we get to travel, it's true. But we see these places, we film them, and we leave. We don't get to enjoy the cultures or the environments. It's literally in and out, trying to get a job done, because we're doing a ministry here. So we're trying to maximize exactly where all these funds go into the filming rather than, you know, our comfort. So that's kind of a big gratitude that I have for this team, because everyone is just grinding.
And I want to say that it's not. People think it's a vacation, but it's clearly not. We walk a lot with heavy bags. You know, I think the only person that doesn't carry any bag is Adam. But we carry a lot of bags, and our bags are heavy. I'm talking about my bag, 50, 16 kilos, 17 kilos.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I think,
the bags are heavy.
I think my back is never the same after Lineage. My back is never the same.
After season 1, I actually had to go visit someone to align my back into place, because my back was just messed up.
I needed to align my arms. The boom pole was so heavy.
I'll tell you, the thing that got me about the Middle East is because we did season 1 and it was so cold so much of the time. Like, I don't know if you remember Prague, it was like minus 14 degrees or something. So I thought, okay, we're going to the Middle East. It's going to be great. And it was, I don't know how we did it, but we managed to go to the Middle East and cause it to rain in every country. We were like in Egypt and Jordan and Israel, and it was raining the whole time. But it was, I think, like Charlene said, it's being in those places where these things happen that really kind of hits home, though.
But there's special times where the Lord really blesses. There's like, it's not just about like hardship all the time, though sometimes we wake up, it's crazy because you film until the middle of the night. I remember filming season 2 and season 1 until the middle of the night, and then the next day you wake up at 2 a.m. because you need to drive and catch the sunrise. So it's nuts, you know. And by the grace of God, no one got seriously ill. Have you noticed that? Like, none of us get seriously ill. No one was sick. Maybe some allergies. But as you know, for me, as long as there's rice, and for Adam, as long as there's potatoes, we keep moving forward. And
I think actually, sorry, go on. Go on,
Clive.
I think the only one time I remember someone being sick was actually Adam, when we were in Germany. No, it was Czech Republic, and you had like the flu. You still managed to get through those episodes and memorize everything, being sick. But apart from that, we've generally been in good health. I want to shout out my dad, who most of season 1, he came to all the places as well. But there was one particular instance where he slipped on some ice, and he suffered from a bad back anyway, and he slipped on some ice. And
I remember it was like, I'm gonna stay by and watch TV, and then he texted, all the channels are in German.
I think that's the only time I ever remember someone getting injured as well. So just to say that, like, God has really protected the team for sure.
In addition to that, we've been talking about how crazy the schedule usually is, and God has been so good to us with the weather. Of course, there have been hot days and some cold days. Cold days. And there has been snow and there has been rain, but we've still, by God's grace, managed to fit all the filming in that needed to get done. And I think that's all praise to God, because we don't have days to buffer for, you know, that kind of stuff.
I think the only time I remember us buffering was, I think we shot something in the winter, and then I think we had one paragraph down. I can't remember what episode it was in season 1, but we ended up shooting it in Birmingham, and it was like 30 degrees outside, and Adam had all his winter clothes on because we were trying to get him to look the same. It was in a random location. It wasn't even anything to do with the topic. I think it was outside Charlene's brother's house in Birmingham. And I mean, apart from that, there's been very rare occasions where that has happened, but typically the weather's been really good.
And I remember the first season was 4 years ago, 3 years ago. When was it?
2016 we started filming.
17 we released.
17. I remember we went to Prague, and it was the first time I've experienced winter, because in the Philippines we only have 2 seasons, hot and the hottest, right? And so it's the first time I came. I remember I got this pizza jacket, red and super fluffy, and it was the coldest times of my life. And that's where also Uncle Clive slipped.
Yeah,
because
that's right.
there's so many black ice in Prague. It was so cold. It's probably the coldest time. And I remember we were filming Zizka, the blind warrior from Prague, and we were in the top of the hill, and it's so windy and it was so cold. That was one of the most miserable times filming.
Extremely
it's crazy.
I remember actually before we filmed that Jasper messaged me when he was still in the Philippines, and he was like, hey, bring me gloves, bring me a hat, bring me a jacket, because I've got none of these. I'm from the Philippines. So we had to kind of pull resources together to get him some clothes.
And it was so cold that the camera shut down.
Yeah.
So hot, the camera shut down. So
yeah. And the audio equipment shut down as well. It was
That's
really
right,
cold. Yeah.
The
really
only
cold.
camera that did not shut down is Ashley's camera, because it's Nikon. It's weather sealed.
Weather sealed.
Wink, wink.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Hey, so we kind of maybe just start wrapping things up now, guys. Maybe let's share a few people have asked questions about what's coming up in the future, or what are some of the resources and things like that. I just wanted to mention that we do have obviously we have a website, and to let you know, we're not going to tell you what it will look like, but the website will be going through a revamp this year that we're really excited about. So do keep your eyes open for that. Someone did ask what's going to be in the future. Obviously what we've filmed now is probably going to give us enough content for the rest of this year, next year as well. What would we do after that? Well, we'll see, where we all are in a couple of years, but we still have ideas as to what we'd like to do. We could go back and reshoot. There's quite a lot of Reformation history that we haven't covered, so we're looking at maybe filling some gaps there. There's also an idea that was to film how the birth of Christian and missions started in different countries, how the Christian movement spread around the world, not just in Europe, but how was it in Africa and Asia and South America. We'd love to cover some of those stories. I mean, these are all dreams and goals, and we'll see how the Lord leads with that as we move forward. But we definitely have creative ideas.
Yeah, and I think like typically we maybe like Adam said, the gaps that we're going to be filling in. There's some stuff from season 1, like we just released a couple of weeks ago, the Anabaptist episode, and typically that would probably fall into season 1, but obviously we finished season 1, so there's going to be one-off episodes that we want to start doing to bring some light. People like St. Patrick from Ireland. We celebrate St. Patrick Days. What does that mean? So we've talked about going back and doing some of these kind of one-off episodes to kind of reignite some of the lost history that's been missing.
I got a question. So how has the pandemic kind of affected Lineage in terms of filming, in terms of just everything? How has it affected Lineage?
So for our initial so season 3 is kind of going to be in 4 sections, sorry. So you kind of got from like creation to, is it Kings? Or yeah, probably around there.
Kings, yeah.
Creation to Kings, and then you kind of got Prophets and Kings, and then you kind of got Desire of Ages, and then you kind of got Acts of the Apostles, and then you kind of got the 7 churches. So maybe like 5 sections. We actually have basically finished all of Patriarchs and Prophets. We've done a lot of Desire of Ages. We've done a lot of Acts of the Apostles. We've done some of Prophets and Kings, but they're not finished. We've actually finished all of Patriarchs and Prophets, apart from 2 paragraphs, which is the opening 2 paragraphs. So we're hoping to film that this week or next week. So in terms of how COVID-19 has affected us, I mean, it slowed down our production. Actually, we were in the midst of filming in Greece and Malta when the lockdown started to happen. And I live in the US now, and Trump made the announcement that the borders were going to be closing and he weren't going to stop accepting people from mainland Europe and then England. And I needed to get home to my family because, my wife is nodding her head there. I needed to get back. So I actually had to leave Greece a day earlier just to get on the flight, just to get back to the US. So there has been some things that have affected us. So we're kind of up in the air when we're going to continue filming the rest of the stuff.
You remember, like we've got 5 episodes from the second part of the series that we were supposed to film in Iran. That was where we were supposed to go, remember?
Yeah.
We were supposed to go to Iran and film 6 episodes, and then coronavirus kicked off and Iran shut down, so we couldn't go there. So then Clive was already coming to England, so we just went to Greece and Malta and filmed anyway, even though those episodes are way more in the future, just so we didn't waste the time, and we got some done. We were thankfully able to rejig plans last minute. So hopefully things will reopen. We need to go back to Iran. We need to finish some stuff up in Turkey and go back to Israel again. So we're praying that the situation in the world alleviates, not just for ourselves, obviously for the whole world, but that would enable us to get the stuff finished and get the production done. So it has slowed us, has impacted us somewhat. Yeah. Just before we close, maybe we talked about future resources, maybe different ways people can website. Please, if you haven't checked out a website, do check it out, lineagejourney.com. You'll find a plethora of articles there, blogs to read. Every episode has an accompanying article, and there's additional information there. So if you've got young children at home and they're on lockdown, or even not on lockdown, not just the videos you'll find on YouTube, you find them on Facebook, but the website has much more than just the video. So make sure you do check out the website and
while we're on the websites, maybe Nari can discuss some of the stats and some of the impact that we're having, marketing wise.
Yeah, sure. So just looking at the website, the traffic to the website's been growing each year, which is really, really good. So far for this year to date, it's up 35%, which is really positive. A lot of people come to the site organically, so either catching the videos online and then coming through and visiting the website like this. Like the guys have said, the blog has got so much content on there, so definitely make use of that. In terms of the countries that people are visiting the website from, it's reached over 177 countries. I don't even know how many countries there are in the world, but that sounds like it's pretty much touched most of them, which is brilliant. And actually, our visibility in YouTube, when you do searches for the likes of John Knox and some of the other reformers, we're starting to appear higher up in those search results, which is really positive. So the more people that watch it, the more people that like the videos and subscribe to the channel will have a big effect. So if you haven't already, please do.
Cool.
Hey, Adam, we keep getting the question, when will season 3 start? Maybe we should touch on that.
God willing, it will start mid-June. So in about 3 or 4 weeks. God willing. All being well.
Think
mid-June is when we should.
No, I think.
But I've got to get those 2 paragraphs done.
Yeah. I think we should not leave this call without touching on your near-death experience on top of Mount Castelluto.
Yeah, let me share it.
Yeah, you share it, and then I'll refute it.
So we're up at Castelluto, and it's where the Waldensians were pushed off in 16, I forget the exact year now, 1650 something, on the 25th of April. And when they were marched up and pushed to their death. So we're filming up there, and Clive's like, oh, it would look better if you stand on that ledge down there. He said, I was down there before, I jumped onto the ledge. And I was like, I looked down at the ledge, I thought, that's a pretty big jump. And I saw another way to kind of go down and walk around to it. So I thought I'll try that. Now, the jump would have been bad, because if you don't land the jump, you're 100 meters down to rocks or more than that. So I walked down to the other little ledge, and on my way there, I saw some, well, I didn't see. So afterwards, there was some black ice, slipped, fell, rolled onto where I was going to climb down to, and rolled a little bit, and thankfully stayed on that little jut of rock and didn't go any further. And so, yeah, I almost became it was pretty scary. So I get up, brush myself off, and Clyde's like, "You should have gone where I told you." And I'm like, "That was worse."
And I think we actually have a video of it. If you check out our behind the scenes, Jasper happened to be filming at the time. The videos don't always look as bad as it actually is, because I think I remember Aiko seeing the video, and then when we went up to Mount Castelluso the second time and she saw it, it looked a lot worse than it actually was. It was pretty high, and Adam was probably inches away from falling down that cliff. Similar thing happened with the camera as well. Remember when my camera was actually on the tripod, and I turned around to get some from my bag, and the wind just took the camera, and it actually fell off the cliff. And on the other side of the cliff was a tiny little ledge, and it landed exactly on that ledge. If it had gone either side, that kind of would have been the end of it.
Yeah, and you gave me approximately 20 seconds to brush myself off and said, "Come on, then let's film now."
That's true, I did.
Like a traumatic stress. Give me some break. Nope. Nah, it was good. It was good. The Lord has protected us, our equipments and our lives, and probably more times than we know with some of the driving and early nights and late nights, and who knows what else we've done. So yeah. T-shirts for season 2 and 3, not yet, but it's a good idea. Yeah, great idea to get some T-shirts out. If you haven't got our T-shirts yet, you can find them on the website. Got some really cool designs that are coming out. We've also got some new things coming out. Shall I mention them, Anton? New stuff we got?
Sure.
Yeah, we got some bags coming out as well, like reusable shopping bags that you can have that will have Lineage on both sides. So that we'll have those coming out on our website in the next week or so. So if any of you are interested in buying them to carry around and put your shopping in, or your Bibles or your books for the kids for church, then that's a great new little thing. We've got limited supplies on that, though. That's not a long-term thing. Probably not. Just want to mention translations real quick. Ika, do you want to just mention how that works? And then that'll be probably the last point we'll cover before we wrap things up. Mute.
There are quite a few languages that have been translated partially. There are a few languages that have been translated complete for season 1. Season 2, 1 or 2 are almost there. This is captions being translated. And then there are a few languages that have done voiceover or dubbing for season 1, and season 2 is on the way. If you want to get involved and help, please email us at info@lineagejourney.com. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll be getting a better system in place for that. And that way, that would make, you could help make Lineage more accessible to more of the world.
Has there been any more questions, guys? Those of you who are watching online, has there been any more questions come in? Just maybe we can answer a couple more before we finish. I haven't been keeping up.
There's not so much questions. It's a lot of people saying that they can't wait for the season to begin. Some people saying that they love the drone footage, which is great. But yeah, there's not so many questions at the moment. Just a lot of people wishing us well, praising God for the work that's been happening. Somebody did ask about injuries. We've covered that already. So yeah, and someone's even posted the behind the scenes footage at Castelluso. So if you want to see Adam slipping, that is on the video. Shouts out to Eden.
And somebody also asked how many episodes for season 3.
Oh, in total, I can't add it in my head because I'm not a mathematician. It's 16, it's 14 plus 11 plus 21 plus 16 plus 8. 13 plus 11, what's that? 24 plus 21, what's that? 45 plus 16, that's 61. It's about 70. Somewhere around there.
Hey, while we're talking about episodes, let's talk about the post-production process.
Real quick, Clive. How long did it take you to edit an episode?
So each episode will probably take 1 to 2 days to edit, depending on the length of the episode and how much graphics we put in it. Typically, our process is I'll edit the dialogue first. I'll send that to Adam and Suki. They'll kind of go through it and just fact check it one more time, just in case we made any mistakes. And then we kind of go to finishing the entire episode. And as I finish the entire episode, I send it to the entire team, and we kind of do an episode review, making sure that it looks right, graphics are right, we're using the right B-roll, or anyone has any other thoughts. And then we get a blurb written up for the website, and then it's queued, ready to go online. Season 1 was a lot challenging. We were kind of filming and editing at the same time. So for example, before we climbed Mount Castelluzzo, I think we left at like 4 a.m. in the morning. I was editing an episode till like 3 a.m. and then went to sleep, and then woke up an hour later to kind of climb. That was killing me. So we kind of refined that for season 2, and we decided to kind of get ahead of ourselves. So typically try and shoot, have stuff filmed so that I can edit maybe like 15 episodes ahead or something like that. And that worked a lot better for us. I think nobody in this team really knew how big this was going to get. Typically, when we started this was really to reach our young people in our conference, which is in England, and obviously Suki joined us from abroad. But this was to reach our young people over here in England. And it kind of just grew and mushroomed. And it was not our intention for it to be this big at all. But we praise God for how he's led our team.
Cool. No more questions, Anton? Aiko, Charlene? No? Okay, cool.
I think we've covered it all, yeah.
Yeah, well, just want to remind you guys who are watching, if you haven't followed us on our social channels, then please do. On Facebook, it's obviously like or follow our page. On Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are probably our most active social media channels, so do follow us on those. We release updates and things via our Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube yet, then please do, so you can get the notifications when our videos go out. We're probably going to release them on Fridays in the upcoming season rather than Wednesdays. The last 2 seasons has always been Wednesdays, but we're looking at doing Fridays now instead. So for those of you that are accustomed to Wednesday, just be ready for a Friday instead. But thank you guys for joining us online. Those of you who've watched this evening, we thank you for coming online. Thank you for your support. For those of you who keep us in prayer, for those of you that just give us encouragement, maybe in the comments, if anyone wants to comment on what your favorite episode is, if you just want to put that in the comment box, or if you want to share how Lineage has blessed you spiritually, any testimonies that you have, that we're always excited to hear how people who are watching it have been blessed from it personally. I've had people tell me, it's blessed their marriage, or school kids tell me they've been in a non-Christian school and the teacher's showing it. So any stories that you have, please do share them with us, whether it's right now in the chat box, or whether it's a message you send us on Facebook or Instagram or through our website. We always want to hear the stories from the field as to how it's touching lives out there. So thank you guys for your support. Thank you guys for taking the time with us.
And just quickly, I think these testimonies really help us as a team. I mean, they really motivate us. I mean, everyone puts a shift in, everyone works long hours sometimes to get these done. And, when we hear some of these testimonies, they really encourage me anyway, to keep going and to keep moving forward. The one that really impacted me the most, which I'll quickly share, I know Adam mentioned a few, was I had someone contact me saying that they share it part of their prison ministries. And, these inmates don't have access to computers or, TVs or things like that. So they're unable to visualize some of the things that they've been studying in the Great Controversy in the Bible. And it was a blessing to hear that they were allowed to, take a computer in so they could watch the episode, so these inmates could really visualize some of these places, and it was impacting their ministry. So these really motivate us to go and make more. And so I'm really thankful for all the people who have sent testimonies to us so far.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again. Shall we wrap things up with a word of prayer? Anyone have a final comment? No.
Thank you to all those who have supported us so far, both financially and through prayers. It does feel like the Holy Spirit has just been leading us. So we're thankful for, like I said, the financial and the prayers. And please continue to do both if you are able to, but definitely continue to pray for us as we move forward as a ministry.
And to those who picked us up in the airport and let us in their houses in different countries around the world, we just want to thank you for letting us use your rice cookers, your bathrooms, your bed. Thank you for supporting us and for loving us whenever we're there. From people from Egypt, Israel. There's so many people really taking care of us. If we don't have any hotels, they've opened their houses for us to stay. So we're really thankful for you guys too.
Sometimes.
Yeah, even across Europe as well. I know there's a family we stayed in Béziers, for example, when we shot that episode, and just we've met great people along the way, and we just want to know that you guys are a part of our ministry because you've helped us do this. So thank you so much for that.
When we filmed season 2, which probably in total was 50 days, I think we only paid for 3 nights accommodation out of those 50 nights. 47 of those nights we stayed with people put us up. So, we can't name all of those people right now off the top of our head, but everyone who's helped us out on our filming journeys, thank you. You may not have been a per se monetary gift that you gave us, but it saved the ministry plenty of money over the weeks and months that we filmed. And so we really appreciate all the support. Yeah,
even across like Australia and New Zealand and all those kind of places there, we people have stepped in. It just shows how much of a worldwide church we are. Yeah,
amen. All right, guys, should we bow our heads for a word of prayer as well? Lord, we want to thank you for the privilege we've had to meet together as a team like this, but also to meet with and to have people around the world who've been able to view and interact with us as well. We thank you, Lord, for the privilege that we have to work in ministry together with you. And I pray, Lord, that you'll continue to bless each member of this team. And I pray you'll continue to bless the work that has gone out already and that which will continue to go out throughout this year and the years ahead. We pray, Lord, that you would use this ministry and resource as a way of touching lives and changing hearts, ultimately for eternity, that people can be in heaven because of the work that is done. We want to thank you, Lord, for all those who have supported us and encouraged us and inspired us along the journey. And we pray, Lord, that as we move forward together, continue to give us grace and strength and humility and courage. We ask and pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Well, thank you, guys. Just a reminder, if you want to follow us on our social media challenge, if you want to support us through our website, our donate page. Thank you guys for being a part of us, and thank you guys for joining us this evening for our live stream. God bless you.
Thanks, guys. God bless.